Okay, everyone, now that we have a little bit of programming under our belts, we need to talk about some important terminology that we're going to be using from this point forward. These terms are related to what we call object-oriented programming, which is the type of programming that you're doing in this class with Small Basic, and it's really the norm today for modern programming. So we'll get just a general idea of what this means. Okay, so what is an object? Think of an object in the real life sense, and that's not too difficult to imagine. And it's almost the same in programming. Objects are what I would call any conceivable entity. Okay, I know that definition may be a little abstract and a little more comprehensive than a real life definition, but let's start with some easy objects. The chair that you're sitting on, for example, is an object. The monitor that you're looking at, that's an object. You yourself are an object. You're a tangible entity. You cast a shadow. Okay, now this is where a programming object and a real-life object diverge a little bit as far as the definitions are concerned. You think of an order on Amazon.com. And I'm not talking about a piece of printed paper with the order on it. I'm just talking about the order itself that somebody has placed, okay, before it's ever printed or, shipped or anything like that. That is an object in programming. That's the kind of thing it would not be considered an object in real life. It's almost like a transaction in real life. It's not something that casts a shadow or that you can reach out and touch. So in real life, that's not an object, but in programming, an order would be an object. So the definition of an object in programming is more comprehensive than in real life. But for all intents and purposes, you can think of, those terms as being nearly the same. Okay, anytime you open up a textbook that deals with object-oriented programming, you're going to read a sentence like this. Objects have properties and methods. So what does that mean? Let's talk about properties first, okay? Let's think about this chair, this office chair, okay? This chair has certain properties, and the programming definition as well as the real-life definition are very similar, okay? Certain properties of the chair, the height of the chair at its highest point, for example, the width of the chair at its widest point, that's a property of the chair. The weight of the chair, that's another property of the chair. The type of chair. Okay, here we have an office chair as opposed to, say, a dentist chair or a reclining chair. And then, of course, the color of the chair. We have a red chair. So these are properties of the chair. Properties refer to certain attributes or characteristics of an object in programming and in life. Okay, methods are things the object can do. Capabilities that the object has. For example, this chair can roll across the room, right? So it has a roll method. This chair can swivel on its base, so it has a swivel method. This chair can have its height adjusted, so it has what I'm calling here an adjust height method. Notice I did this on purpose because you have seen this before. When you have parentheses there, now you know why. That's a method. So every time you see parentheses in code, and you'll see them a lot, you should know that you're looking at a method. And we know that a method is a capability of the object, something the object can do. Okay, so let's say we're writing a program about the chair. All right? We may type a line like this. The type of the chair is office. Chair.type equals office. So this is the type is a property of the chair, okay? And I'm setting that property to office because it's an office chair. The chair also has a color property. I'm going to set that property to dark red. And the chair also presumably has a weight, and we'll say it weighs 45 pounds, so I've set the weight property to 45 pounds. So this is how we manipulate properties of an object through code. You type the object name, you type a dot, and then the property is going to probably come up in your IntelliSense, right? and then we use an equal sign to assign the property of value. Okay, so again, with this type of code, we are setting the object's properties. Okay, now, does this look familiar? Graphics window dot title equals Marilyn by Andy Warhol in our last program. Okay, graphics window dot background color equals pink. All right, so we are setting these properties through our code. So the graphics window is an object. It has certain properties that we can manipulate, right? Title property, background color, the height and the width, just like the chair had a height and a width. So, you know, this is a programming object, but an object nevertheless, and it's tangible. We can see it with our own eyes, right? So this is how we'll set properties through code. Okay, now methods. Chair.roll. Remember what I said about methods? They always have those parentheses there. So this is, when I type a line like this in my program, the object name dot, and then the method name, and then the parentheses, I'm calling a method. That's what we call calling a method. And basically that just means we're running the method or executing the method. So if this were a program and I had a line like this, that chair would roll, all right? Okay, chair.swivel. I'm calling the swivel method. I'm executing the swivel method, and if this were a program and there were a chair in the program, then that chair would start to swivel when that line was executed. Okay, and then we have the adjust height method. Again, same thing. I'm calling the adjust height method, not forgetting my parentheses, and then the chair would adjust in height. Okay. The thing about methods, though, is sometimes they require additional information from us. Okay? So, for example, if I wanted that chair to roll 10 feet across the room, I might type chair.roll and then provide a 10, which is that additional piece of information that the method needs to do its job. Okay? And when you provide an additional piece of information to the method in order for it to do its job, that thing is called an argument. Okay, so I'm calling the roll method of the chair object, and I'm providing an argument of 10. Okay, here I'm calling the swivel method on the chair object, and I'm providing an argument of 3. So presumably the chair would swivel around 3 times. All right, here the adjust height method. I provided an argument of 28, so the chair would adjust to 28 inches. The seat would adjust to 28 inches. Okay, so does this look familiar? Graphics window dot show. The graphics window object has a show method. Okay, and we can call that. Notice the parentheses. You've seen those before in a program. Graphics window dot draw resized image. Okay, so that's the draw resized image method. It's something that the window can do, and when we call this method and we provide it 5 arguments, right? Remember the image name, the x coordinate, the y coordinate, the height and the width, those 5 things that that method needs to do its job. Once it has those 5 things, it exercises its capability, and the Marilyn is drawn on the graphics window. Okay, so sometimes methods require arguments, like this one requires 5 arguments, but this one requires none. Okay? All right, one more term, even though we haven't seen this in our code yet, we are going to very shortly. A collection. A collection is a collection of objects, and this term in programming is very similar to real life. So I might in my program have a chairs collection, and notice that we use plural when describing a collection or naming a collection, referring to a collection. So the chairs collection is really exactly what you think it is in this example. If it were a programming example or a real life example, it's just a bunch of chairs together, a bunch of chair objects together. So I really want you to master these terms because they're important and they'll be with you for a long time. At least until the end of the semester, and if you continue programming beyond that, you know, these terms will just have to be like second nature to you. So please, like I said, learn them very well.